Hello, everybody. I'm back, sort of, kind of. My chest still hurts. My voice still sucks. But here I am because there's been a lot of ridiculous bullshit that's been happening in our parliament, and I wanted to cover some of it because unfortunately Pierre Polyev was not there today, but we had our two other deputy members. We had Andrew Scheer and Melissa Lanceman talking, plus a bunch of other conservative stuff, and a bunch of shenanigans with the MPs in general. Craig Fergus seems to have completely lost control of the House, from what little he had before. Um, so, of course, we're going to cover all of that. I've done two videos today. We learned about Cocaine Randy, who the Liberals, uh, they they kind of brought that down on themselves because that was a that was something that was said off mic, and honestly, I don't think I definitely didn't hear it. Um, I don't know if it's because my hearing is still not the greatest, but I definitely didn't hear it when I was listening to question period yesterday because that's supposedly when it happened. But apparently, one of the ministers made a point of order and was all offended that one of the conservative members referred to this guy, Randy Boissonneau, as Cocaine Randy, which. Oh, sorry about that. I needed a drink of water. Um, so if for any of you who missed the video, Randy is now accused of sharing a P.O. box address with an international cocaine dealer, um, with his company Global Health Imports. So yeah, that's something. On top of him saying that he's an indigenous guy, so that his company could get some support for indigenous owned businesses. Lovely person. Just a just a lovely specimen of a person. Um and we had a lot of unparliamentary language yesterday in the form of fraudster and phony and fake. He's a great big phony. That's all I could think of. The Family Guy thing. $30. Ooh. No. No. And I wouldn't even. Yeah, no. I'd stop coughing though. Yes, I would. No, we do not. That's yeah, no. Oops. Um. So let's see what else. Uh, poor Piccolo. He's been there's this there's this game that was on the PlayStation Store for free. It was like it's the Hot Wheels 2 turbocharged, I think. And it's like he's become obsessed with trying to get these awesome records and
No, I'm not trying to get awesome records. Well, I just want my perfect scores. I just want my perfect scores.
I don't want an awesome record.
Do you not remember that stupid Crash Test Dummies game I
had? No.
Crash the car and try and see how far you can send the guy, and then there was that one that Winston gave me. that every time that I was always hooked into for hours and hours and hours because it was trying to crash the car the best way to gain the most points.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
this is Hot Wheels. Fuck off. This is guy stuff. Go away. It's International Men's Day, for Christ's sakes.
Well then, play your game then.
Boys! Hey, come here.
Oh my goodness. So what else to tell? What else to talk about before we get into our stream? Oh, right. So I'm almost done my ear antibiotics, except my ear is still like completely blocked up. So I'm really hoping that the azithromycin for the pneumonia helps unblock the ear because I really don't want to have to go back again. Because if I call my family doctor, she's going to be like, I want to see you. I want to look in your ear. Why? You want me to drive all the way? You want me to drive 90 minutes so you can take 10 seconds to stick the scope in my ear when the ear infection's been diagnosed? Just send in the eardrops. Because that's the one thing that these guys didn't give me was antibiotic eardrops, which is strange. I usually get antibiotic eardrops and oral antibiotics. But that is not that's not the case this time. So I may have to call the family doctor and be like, "Hey, I just need this extra little thing to help me get through it because I'm getting really tired of not hearing out of this year, especially now that there's a new character out in Mortal Kombat and I want to play with them and enjoy the sound effects properly. I'm also tired of having legs that look like I've literally been beaten. Like I seriously look like somebody has taken my cane away from me and just gone to town. From my shins all the way up to like halfway up my thighs. There are bruises all over the place just from me not being able to hear properly where I'm going and just walking into shit. And it is so fucking painful. It's crazy. Like I'm just it's like every time I stand up the blood pounds in my bruises and it's bad. Like walking around just putting weight on my legs just fucking hurts. So that's something else that I'm really tired of. I would really prefer to get my hearing back so that I can hear where I'm going. Because it's very annoying. I really don't like it. Like, it's my ear is luckily not hurting that badly this time, but it's just blocked and it's really frustrating and I don't like it. So, with that being said, we are going to try to distract ourselves with some question period. And hopefully I can go for the whole hour. It's an hour. The actual questions go from 24 minutes on to probably an hour and 30 minutes. So it's about an hour and 10 minutes of questions. So hopefully my voice can last the whole time. And let's switch over here to our live scene. And it's funny listening to them play the game. It makes me laugh. Thanks. I thought people would enjoy that. Cause I don't know, when I start laughing and coughing, I might sound like I'm almost dead. So let's pop over here, get our question period going, and let's see how far I can go.
An oral questions, the honourable member from Regina Capel.
Yay!
New sordid details about the employment minister's scandal. And yesterday we learned that his company shares a mailing address with an international drug trafficker who's been busted for cocaine not once, but twice.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
He's been caught out in falsehoods, caught faking Indigenous identity to try to secure government contracts meant for real Indigenous people. And his company is under investigation for 9 fraud-related counts.
9. Wow. I didn't realize it was that high. Lemon tea with honey. I don't have any honey. I do have tea though. But I don't think we have any lemon juice left.
Why on earth has the Prime Minister not fired this man?
Right.
Yes, that is a good question. Why has the Prime Minister not fired this man? Like, just on the optics of it alone, it looks horrible.
The honourable minister for Employment and Workforce Development.
Mr. Speaker, as I said yesterday, I don't know the person referred to in that article. I've never met that person.
I don't know the person. I don't know them. I swear.
Never met that person. It's stated in the article, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
That's it? That's, oh my god, that is, if that's not an I spoke to my lawyer answer, that is, I don't know what is.
The honourable member from Regina Capel.
Let's recap the scandal so far. He said he was Indigenous, even though he wasn't. He said his great-grandmother was Cree, even though she wasn't. He said there was another Randy working at the company, even though there wasn't. That he had nothing to do with the company while he was in cabinet,
Even though he did?
And his company got a contract while he was sitting around the cabinet table. In a normal government, any one of those scandals would be cause for dismissal.
Yeah, that's right.
So why in this wacko liberal government does this man still sit in cabinet?
Careful, Andrew. Careful. You can't say wacko, Andrew. That's dangerous.
And ask members to be very judicious in their use of
See?
words.
Be very judicious in your words. 'Cause wacko is such a naughty, naughty word.
The Honourable Minister of Public Services and Procurement.
Why are you
Thank you, Mr.
talking and
Speaker.
answering in
The
French?
Minister has already answered this question many times. The question that we still haven't had an answer for is why the Conservative leader's scandal, who refuses to seek his security clearance and protect
Oh,
himself
fuck
and
off
his
with
future
that
members
shit.
during the next election.
Why has he not gotten his security clearance? Ah. Are you serious? Is this still what we're doing? There are so many scandals that the Liberal Party is embroiled in right now. And all you can say is he won't get his security clearance as somebody who doesn't actually need it.
What is he hiding?
What? Oh yes,
When
what
he
is he
refuses
hiding?
to get information about the risks of foreign interference for the upcoming elections. Thank you. I would ask the honourable member to not speak until the chair recognizes him.
Regina Capel.
Well, we don't know what it'll take for this guy to get fired from this Prime Minister. We do know what will get you fired. Remember Jody Wilson-Raybould?
Oh shit. Hey, do you remember the real Indigenous person that worked for the government once upon a time who actually tried to stand up for what was right? Yeah, she got fired.
She was fired for telling the truth about the Prime Minister's attempts to interfere in a criminal case. Here's what she had to say. A Prime Minister committed to true reconciliation would have removed this minister and the other Randy from cabinet long ago. Instead, we get to watch white people play Ancestry Wheel of Fortune. How come under this Prime Minister, a strong Indigenous woman gets fired for telling the truth when a weak, fake Indigenous man gets to keep his job after lying?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Good shit, Andrew Scheer. But that's going to get called unparliamentary for sure. Watch.
Again, I'm going to ask the honorable member from Regina Capel, who once sat in this chair, to withdraw that one word which was directly used to another member, which would not be considered parliamentary.
Withdraw that one word. You're so afraid of saying. You're so afraid. And what word? What word are we looking for here? He said a few that were unparliamentary, technically.
Ask the honourable member to do so.
I'll withdraw the word lying and replace it with telling falsehoods.
Oh.
The actual word.
I know it wasn't lying.
The word which was being used. I'm going to ask the honourable member to withdraw the word fake, please.
Yeah, you can't call him weak. You can't call him weak. That's too mean. You can't call the man weak, even though he's weak. And you can't refer to Jody Wilson-Raybould as a strong person. Ugh. That is ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. Come on, Fergus. Is Andrew Scheer gonna get thrown out?
Just for the speaker to clarify, the word fake, but the minister did.
He faked all those things.
The minister is now admitting that he's not Indigenous, so he pretended to be something that he wasn't.
Fake or weak?
Colleagues.
I think he said weak.
Colleagues, yesterday there were members who were asked to withdraw that very same word, and the member did. And so I'm going to ask the honourable member if he could please do so.
I will withdraw the word fake and replace it with either sham, imitation, counterfeit.
The honourable member.
Oh my god. Andrew Scheer knows exactly, I think, because I'm pretty sure the word was weak, not fake. And Craig Fergus is now getting more and more pissed off.
Colleagues.
Colleagues, I'm getting angry.
Colleagues, I've always insisted, I'm going to ask all members please not to take the floor while the speaker is addressing.
Everybody shut up while I'm talking, god damn it. That's what that really means.
It has been a tradition of this place to ask very tough questions, to keep government accountable. It's important for government, of course, to provide very clear answers. But we try.
It's very important for government to provide very clear answers. Yes, but when this government is not providing very clear answers, and when one of the members of the government is being weak, it should be allowed to be called out.
But we try to do this in a way that allows people to treat each other with decorum and respect. And
Decorum
so
and
the honorable member has
respect.
sat in this chair in this position once before. Yesterday we asked a number of members to, when it was referring to a particular member, to withdraw that same word that I'm just asking for today. I just asked the honorable member just to withdraw.
And he won't say it again. He won't say weak again. He's like, that word that I've already asked you to withdraw.
Move on.
Mr. Speaker, when I sat in that chair, I heard the word fake being used many, many times.
I will come back to this issue later on. I will come back to this issue near the end of question period.
So either Andrew Scheer deliberately is mishearing here, and mishearing the word fake for weak, or Fergus really said it very quickly.
Leader of the government in the House of Commons.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, but I think that little display of disrespect for that place is ubiquitous of how conservative members treat this place.
Oh, shut up, Karina. Everybody shut up. I can't hear the really soft-spoken, whiny lady talking.
I'm going to ask the honourable member. The honourable members.
See, Fergus has lost all control from anybody, from either side of the house. Like, nobody cares.
I'm going to ask the honourable member from Lanark, Hastings, Addington to please. Sorry, forgive me.
Oh, he named the wrong person.
Forgive me, the honourable member from Lanark, Frontenac and Kingston. To please not take the floor when he is not recognized to do so. Now, colleagues,
oh, now he's gonna mute the mic so we can't hear him chastising. That's just sad. Respect? Right? They want respect.
The honourable minister had finished her answer because I was not able to hear her. So I'm going to ask the honourable minister. To start from the top.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think
Oh, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
from the conservative members
This is shameful and disrespectful to you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, pucker up.
is on display today, and it
Pucker
is
up.
exactly how they have been operating for the past couple of weeks. Mr. Speaker, it is time for them to stop filibustering and obstructing the work of Parliament. It is time for them to start respecting this place, respecting the work we do here on behalf of Canadians. We have deposited up to 29,000 pages worth of documents. They need to stop these games and let everybody get back to work on behalf of Canadians. Thank you.
Oh, please. Stop these games. and let us get back to work for Canadians. Like you guys just took a whole week off for one day. For Remembrance Day, you guys took the entire week off. That is, you guys adjourn so much during your time that you're supposed to be sitting. It's pathetic.
I'm going to ask the honourable member from St. Margaret, South Shore, to please not take the floor. And to all colleagues, we are wasting a fair bit of time. And to making sure that members get going, we might have to cut a couple of questions from today.
Uh-oh.
So let us make sure that we follow up very carefully and we listen to the instructions. The
honourable member for.
You're late, but I sound and look better. Hey, Spittlebuggies! I'm kind of feeling better. My ear is still fucking blocked up, though. I've got one more dose of antibiotics to take for that tonight. But yeah, my ear is still blocked up, but my lungs I'm feeling a little bit better with that. I'm like able to actually talk without going like because that was getting annoying.
Or mégantic l'érable.
Oh God, that French bitch! That horrible translation person.
Judicious in the trillion. He will stop at nothing to advance his own interest. His partner, he's skating on the other side of the line.
He's shitting on the other side of the line.
He's skating on the other side.
The translator accidentally just said that someone was shitting on the other side of the line.
The line. He's referring to the first name of a minister. Regardless.
Oh God.
He's made 5 references to this, and this is not okay. So I ask the honourable member to find another way of asking his question.
Stop referring to people by their first names. Stop saying Randy. It's very rude. Apparently, in the House of Commons.
Ask him to start his question again, please. Mr. Speaker, there's a quite simple way to end the use of the name Randy in this House, to use the name of the other Randy.
Yes, let's talk about the other Randy.
Official languages.
Or maybe Cocaine Randy.
When will the Prime Minister end this big masquerade and fire all the Randys? He could even hit a home run by just firing the Minister of Official Languages. Will the Prime Minister fire this imposter of a Minister of Official Languages?
Can't use imposter.
Truly, you have put me in a very uncomfortable situation.
See, he says vraiment, vraiment, truly, verily, you have put me in a difficult position.
Government House Leader, Mr. Speaker, this is unbelievable what the Conservative members are doing today. They are showing they have no respect for this place, for democracy in Canada.
I'm sorry, you guys are the ones that brought up Cocaine Randy. There was no microphone on the member for Leeds Granville Islands when he said it. So the only reason that anybody knows about it is because a Liberal minister was like, oh my God, that's so horrible.
That's what you're saying as Speaker of this House. There are Canadians who are watching this circus that they are doing on the other side. And the Conservative members are making a joke of this place.
Oh, yes. It's the Conservative members that are making the joke of this place. It's not your guys' reactions or your guys' inability to fire people who deserve to be fired or take accountability for what you guys are doing to the country. No, it's just the other people's fault.
It is the seat of our democracy, and this is really shameful. Thank you.
Bonne réponse.
L'honorable député de La
The honourable member for La Prairie.
A reporter caught an NDP person going in and stating that the house is now stalled. So would they call no confidence already? And the MP said he'd have to think about that. Of course. Of course.
Radio Canada has obtained documents proving that the CRA has known for months that it is a veritable sieve when it comes to fraud. Since November 2023, it has known that fraudsters were receiving fake tax refunds. But instead of sounding the alarm, the CRA is covering it up. It hides from taxpayers the fact that over $100 million has been stolen from them this year. It hides from them the fact that 31,000 of them have had their personal information stolen. And instead of trying to fix this, it has decided to hunt down their employees to silence whistleblowers.
Oh, don't tell people about this, employees. How dare you blow the whistle on us?
Will the minister clean house as necessary?
L'honorable ministre.
The Honourable Minister of National Revenue. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What my colleague is saying is false. We've hidden nothing.
It's false. That's why the news is full of articles about this. Is that means it's so everybody's lying about it.
Soon as there is information that is learned about potential fraud, I can assure you that we take this situation very seriously, that the persons involved...
yeah, you take it very seriously unless it's like a small business person. Or sorry, unless it's like a big business person who has tons of money. But you want to lambaste the small business person or the individual.
We identify the fraudsters and their other consequences, and we report to the Treasury Board and to the privacy commissioners, among others. Thank you. The honourable member for La Prairie. Impressive. When it comes to crisis management, the CRA is an example not to be followed. Here's how they don't deal with fraud. 1. Hide the crisis until it ends up in the newspaper. 2. Hide the theft of personal information from the privacy commissioner. And 3. Hunt whistleblowers instead of fraudsters. In short,
all true.
CRA executives don't want to solve the problem. They just don't want to be blamed for it. Their top priority is to protect their own backs. Will the minister get her priorities straight?
No. What? Why would... She's right there with the other people mentioned. Why on earth would she want to get her priorities straight? This benefits her.
The Honourable Minister of National Revenue. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm ready to do what we have to, and I'm already doing it because what my colleague is saying is false. It's completely untrue. We've hidden nothing. As soon as we see there's a potential fraud, we block accounts, we seek out the fraudsters, we make reports. Yes, we report according to the processes.
We report.
We do it quarterly. We do it to the Treasury Board, to the AG, and to public accounts.
That was the biggest nothing burger of an answer I think I've ever heard. That's pretty pathetic. That is just sad. Okay, let's keep moving on.
The Honourable Member for Rosemont La Petite Patrie. Mr. Speaker, the cost of living is up, rents are up, groceries are up, and the Liberals have turned their backs on everyone. The Conservatives are going to be cutting everywhere, and it's going to make people's lives even more expensive. Quebecers need better than this. They deserve a break.
Oh yes, just Quebecers. Quebecers need a break from this. Quebecers deserve a break. Oh, fuck. I hate when the Quebecois talk like that.
The NDP is proposing proposing to remove the GST on groceries, on heating bills, internet, cell phones, and for once, we're going to make big, rich CEOs pay. Will the Liberals to have the courage to do this? The Honourable Minister. Mr. Speaker, we agree for once with the NDP. It's true the Conservatives don't have a plan. They just want to cut. They want to cut health care.
Yes,
cut
and
daycare. They want to cut...
Because daycare is not a federal program. Healthcare is something that you need to be paying transfer payments to, not taking over from the provinces.
To other assistants. We know what the Conservative plan is, but if there's one thing that people who are watching us at home know, on this side of the House, Mr. Speaker, we believe in investing in Canadians. We believe
of course
investing investing in families and in health. Because countries that are sure of themselves invest in their citizens. Thank you.
Member from Elmwood, Transcona.
Mr. Speaker, Manitoba families are paying more and getting less at grocery stores. Prices are going up on everyday items and the size of the packaging is getting smaller.
That's true.
Families need a break. They need relief now. That's right. The Liberals are letting people down, and people in my riding know that Conservatives will cut and gut the important things we need.
So this is either an NDP. Yeah, this has got to be an NDP.
Families thousands of dollars. The NDP will help families by removing GST off essentials like groceries, kids' clothing, and diapers. Why won't this government give families the break they need and remove the GST now?
So they seem to have. So the NDP has an interesting platform. Remove the GST on all necessities. So they're really going for broke here. That's interesting.
The Honourable Minister for Families, Children and Social Development.
Our Liberal government has been working to help families put food on the table and in their kids' lunch boxes. We know the Conservative leader will pursue dangerous cuts. The difference couldn't be more stark, Mr. Speaker. While Liberals work to ensure kids have foods, Conservatives will cut these programs.
Yeah, because you basically make sure the kids have prison food.
I don't know what the Conservative leader's obsession is with these dangerous cuts, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member from Thornhill.
Mr. Speaker, it seems that either the Employment Minister or the other Randy actually might also be moonlighting as a magician. We know he says he's Indigenous, even though he's not. We know he stole from Indigenous Canadians. We know he said he wasn't involved in the company when he was in cabinet, but he was. But today, perhaps as a magician, he has made his business partners disappear.
Yeah, somehow Steve Anderson is apparently he's no longer in connection with this guy. Let's see. Invest in more made, not aid. Oh. Alright, I need to do a very, very quick bathroom break because of all the water I have to drink. So I will be right back. Actually, I'll put it on. What will I put it on? You're Not Alone. And I will do this. And I will be right back.
Disconnected their phone numbers, they deactivated their emails, and they are nowhere to be found to avoid the scrutiny of this parliament. So will the minister stand up, wave his magic wand, and tell his business partners to show up here?
The Honourable Minister of Public Services and Procurement. It's really unfortunate, Mr. Speaker, to hear so many falsehoods and so little time in this House. It's really unfortunate that the Conservatives are investing all of their energy in falsehoods that are derailing the House and detract from the work of the House, from what's important, and that is working for Quebecers and Canadians. But one thing that we still don't know the answer to is why the Conservative leader, who sits next to the member, has not sought his security clearance so they can protect all members. during the next election.
The honourable member from Thornhill.
If the minister doesn't know where to find these individuals, perhaps he can ask the other Randy.
Yes, ask the other Randy. That's a great idea.
And fraudulent affair. Liberals like Jody Wilson-Raybould called it, quote, so shameful and extremely destructive. The Prime Minister fires the first Indigenous Attorney General, but keeps the first fake Indigenous Employment Minister. That's some version of reconciliation.
No kidding. What a good point. What a very, very valid point Melissa Landsman is making. Jody Wilson-Raybould was actually Indigenous. She was the Attorney General of Canada. And because she was not willing to let Trudeau push the SNC-Lavalin scandal under the rug, she was she was fired. She was cashiered. She was pushed to the side. And now this fake Indigenous guy is here and he's allowed to stay?
Is the Prime Minister going to fire the Employment Minister and the other Randy?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the minister has addressed those issues. He has stated that what
Oh, Karina Gould with her super soft, quiet mom voice. How adorable.
we want to know is why is the leader of the opposition silencing his members of parliament? Why won't he allow his members of parliament to speak on behalf of their constituents and advocate for their communities? Mr. Speaker, all we hear from the leader of the opposition is silencing his own members of parliament, Mr. Speaker.
That's not true. The letters that you're talking about were letters asking where the housing starts are. Because there aren't any housing starts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for St. Albert, Edmonton.
Mr. Speaker, the Minister of Employment is embroiled in allegations of fraud. He almost certainly violated the Conflict of Interest Act. He got caught pretending to be Indigenous in an effort to steal government contracts from legitimately owned Indigenous businesses. And we now learn that the minister has a business connection to a cocaine trafficker. In the face of all of that, why is he still in cabinet?
That's basically the question that the Conservatives just want answered. Why is Randy Boissonneau still in cabinet? Why is oh my goodness. Why is he still allowed to have a job?
The Honourable Minister of Public Services and Procurement.
And of course he's going to answer in French.
The member has once again combined all
even
sorts
though
of
the question
falsehoods
was in English.
To make some sense of the story, but the minister has answered these questions on several opportunities. All of this is false, and we still don't know, however, how the member who asked the question will protect himself against foreign interference during the upcoming election if his Conservative leader refuses to seek his security clearance. How will he know if he's protected from foreign interference under the next election?
How will you know if you're being interfered with? Aren't you scared? Aren't you scared of big bad foreign interference?
Member from St. Albert, Edmonton.
Mr. Speaker, one must ask why the Prime Minister hasn't seen fit to fire this minister. Could it be that the Prime Minister violated the Conflict of Interest Act not once, but twice? Could it be that the Prime Minister is a cultural appropriator, having worn blackface more times? Prime Minister is a cultural appropriator, having worn blackface more times than he can remember. Isn't it the case that if the Prime Minister were to fire the minister, he'd have to fire himself?
That's a good point, too. He can't, because, I'd say this is a little bit more of a problem than wearing blackface. I'd say actually pretending to be Indigenous to get money for your company is a bit more egregious than putting black makeup on your face when you're a white person. I mean, they're both not great, but one is definitely worse.
what Canadians are witnessing today is very disturbing, Mr. Speaker. On
Oh, it's very disturbing, is it?
many occasions, you had questions that were asked and answer that was provided, Mr. Speaker. But the real issue that Canadians are asking at home is why the leader of the Conservative would not get the security clearance, would not get the briefing, and would not do his job, Mr. Speaker.
He's doing his job, Mr. Speaker. He's doing his job very well, actually. You guys are just pissed off about it. That's why you're so upset, Mr. Frenchman.
That's what Canadians are concerned about. Get the clearance, get the briefing, and do your job, man.
Do your job, man! Good God, man! Do your job! What the fuck? What kind of theatrics is this shit? My God.
Well, when your leader's a drama teacher.
He literally just yelled, "Do your job, man." Get the briefing, get the clearance, and do your job, man. That's the Minister of Innovation, the tiny little angry French guy.
I invite all members to ensure that they ask their questions to the Speaker. The Honourable... sorry, that they speak to the Speaker, whether or not they ask questions or give answers. The
Honourable Member for Charles-Bourg-Saint-Charles. The Minister of Official Languages said he was an indigenous so he can get money for indigenous companies, even though he's not. Must also, the famous Randy, he says isn't him, even though we know that.
Poor Fergus. He's every time they say the word Randy, he probably just wants to scream. I said stop saying Randy.
He's an imposter and a charlatan. He's corrupt.
Ooh. You can't say that.
On several occasions, I have asked all members to be very cautious in terms of the language that they are using. This time, the language that is being used directly impugns another member of this place, and I would ask the Honourable Member for Charles-Bourg-Saint-Charles to ask his question again and to retract his comments and to re-ask his question. Mr. Speaker, the Minister of Official Languages has said he's Indigenous. I would ask you to remove your comments first.
Oh yeah. You actually have to speak the words, "I withdraw my comment," before you can carry on, sir.
Retract them, and then start your question again. The Honourable Member for Saint-Charles. I'd like to retract that he's a fraudster and corrupt, and I will say instead that he has committed fraud and corruption. Is that okay? No.
No, it's not okay.
No. That won't work. I would ask members to follow the members of other who asked the question yesterday, and their retraction was acceptable. So I'd ask the member once again, please, to retract his comments and then ask his question again. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next question. We can't say the minister is a fraudster and corrupt. Instead, there are allegations of fraud and corruption with respect to this minister, and I would ask the Prime Minister to remove him from cabinet.
There you go. Are you happy now, Fergus? They said, okay, there's allegations of fraud surrounding this minister. There, are you happy now?
The Honourable Minister of Public Services and Procurement. Our colleague from Charles-Bourg-Saint-Charles is obviously just having a hard time expressing himself today, but one thing we do agree on is that the whole story of his Conservative leader...
He's having a hard time expressing himself today. Don't worry, he's just a special little guy.
saying that the agreement we have with the government of Quebec is to build 8,000 housing units, but he said there are none, but there are dozens in his own riding. So these units are being built. So when will he ask his Conservative leader to go himself and see that there are truly projects in his riding?
Then I have the
The honourable member for Charlebourg-Saint-Charles. The
There are
minister
housing
is trying to
starts,
divert
maybe.
from the question, but the Minister of Official Languages in 2015 said that he was a journalist and even worked for Radio Canada and Les Affaires. We know it's not true, Mr. Speaker. Also, he also led people to believe he was Indigenous to get funds for Indigenous companies.
Oh,
He no longer
yeah,
deserves to be in cabinet. Will the Prime Minister...
Yeah, you can't just lie like that and then expect to stay in cabinet. I'm sorry.
show him the door? The Honourable Minister of Public Services and Procurement. The Minister has already answered these questions, but what we still haven't heard, Mr. Speaker, is the opinion
why the leader
of
hasn't gotten the
Conservative member
Conservative
for Charlebourg in terms of his riding and the projects that are being built. There are dozens of affordable housing units that have been built with the agreement with the Quebec government that we signed. But his Conservative leader is saying that these units don't exist. When he show all of us, ask his leader to go visit these wonderful housing units that his leader says don't exist.
Right.
I'm going to member from St. Margaret's, South Shore St. Margaret's for the second time.
Oh, for the second time today.
The floor were not recognized.
Oh my goodness. Member from South Shore St. Margaret is being a naughty today.
I'd like to remind him a third time. Then I have
the honourable member for Avignon, La Matisse, Matane, Matapedia. The federal government has once again made a clean getaway on passports.
Yep.
While the federal government is being questioned about its border plan in the face of Donald Trump's deportation threats, Radio Canada reveals that the federal government issued a passport to a criminal smuggler known to authorities.
Fuck, man, passports are stupidly expensive. I think it's like $120 for a 5-year passport and $160 for a 10-year passport.
A repeat human trafficker. A man implicated
lovely.
in the deaths of 9 migrants in the river last spring. This man was given a passport by Service Canada. How is it possible to be so dangerously incompetent? The Honourable Minister of Immigration, Citizenship and Refugees. Mr. Speaker, if what she's alleging is true, I will do verifications with Service Canada and other safety agencies, and I'll be happy to report back to the House then after.
Shouldn't you already know about this person and this situation as the immigrations minister?
When the time comes, thank you. The honourable member for Beauport-Limoilou. Do you understand why we're worried about the federal government's lack of preparation for Trump's deportations? While the feds are telling us that everything's okay at the borders, we're learning that they're giving a passport to a notorious criminal smuggler. Once again, when it comes to border management, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing in Ottawa. It's a madhouse.
Careful. That could be deemed unparliamentary too. Calling it a madhouse.
Are there any more criminal smugglers out there with brand new passports to cross borders as they please? The Honourable Minister of Immigration, Citizenship and Refugees. Mr. Speaker, as I clearly said during my previous answer, I'd be happy to come back to the House to present exactly what happened. If the alleged facts are true and this passport should not have been issued, we will check into this. Thank you.
But shouldn't you already know whether or not a passport was issued incorrectly as the Minister of Immigration and Citizenship?
The honourable member for Beauport-Limoilou. The criminal smuggler in question was arrested in 2008 for possession of 2 passports in other names.
Oh,
And
good.
he was arrested again in 2017 for human trafficking, and once again in 2021, following which the federal government confiscated his passport.
Oh,
And
only
all
after
that, he
7
reapplied
years.
for a passport, and the federal authorities delivered another one to him in 2023. How can we ignore the fact
They
that
gave
criminal
him another
smugglers are
passport?
running the show at the borders right under the federal government's nose?
That's insane.
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
We know we took
Mr.
your
Speaker,
original
our
passport, but
government
here.
has invested greatly and will continue to do so in protecting our borders. We reversed the cuts that the previous Conservative government applied to Canada Border Services, and we gave RCMP the necessary tools to obviously work with their American partners to ensure the safety of our border. And I was very proud a few weeks ago of RCMP operation with our U.S. partners to ensure that many human smugglers and drug smugglers are now charged and facing criminal prosecution.
Okay, well, awesome. But that doesn't mean that any of what is being talked about in this kid's situation isn't being handled. Oh, I like this guy.
To get government contracts, the Liberal minister from Edmonton said that he was Indigenous, but he's not. He said that he wasn't the Randy who was involved in the ongoing operations of the company that was applying for government contracts.
He was.
But text messages show that he was. Now, he also said he wasn't directing his company from the cabinet table, but we know that that's also not true. Not true, not true, and not true. So we don't know which minister they're going to stand up, but what we want to know from that minister is, do they think that that behavior is appropriate, and do they think that he should remain in cabinet?
Oh, that's a good question. See, this is why I like this guy. He asks good questions, and he's got a good attitude on him.
The Honourable Leader of the Government in the House of Commons.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the minister has already responded to those questions. But what I find really interesting is that today marks 1,000
Who asked
days
you?
since Russia's war of aggression in Ukraine, and we have not heard a single question about this from the Conservative members of Parliament. This is unsurprising for them, given the fact that when it comes to their support for Ukraine, it has been wavering over the past.
Yeah, because you want to send every single dollar and every single bullet and every single piece of equipment over to the Ukraine.
Here on this side of the House, Mr. Speaker, we stand for Ukraine. Do the Conservative members of Parliament?
Exactly. Question.
The Honourable Member from Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, and Rideau Lakes.
Well, I'm glad that the minister showed up for work, but she must have been late enough to not hear our statement where we expressed, of course, our support for Ukraine. But let's focus
Good answer. Good answer. I like how he answers back real quick. You know, oh, you might not, you know, I like his biting retaliation.
The facts are that their cabinet colleague is involved with cocaine traffickers.
Yep.
Their cabinet colleague is pretending to be Indigenous in order to disenfranchise Indigenous-owned companies
That's
and
true.
Indigenous people. That's who they're in league with. That minister can't seem to tell the truth to save his own life. So Randy or other Randy or pretend Indigenous Randy.
Randy, other Randy, or pretend Indigenous Randy. I noticed that they're being very careful not to say cocaine Randy.
Why won't they fire this fraudster?
Oh, he said fraudster.
Again, for the second day in a row, I'm going to ask the Honourable Member from Leeds, Grenville, on the very last part of this question, using language which just can't pass in this place. The Honourable Member, will he just
What, a fraud
simply
fiend called a
withdraw that
fraudster
question,
can't pass in
and then
this
we can move
place?
on? withdraw that word, and then we could just simply move on.
The word fraudster is withdrawn.
I thank the honourable member. The honourable leader of the government of the House of Commons.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, I guess the member opposite wasn't paying attention to my answer because I said we were halfway through question period and I had yet to hear a question from the
That
member
was a
opposite.
very unparliamentary language. And that was a very, well, parliamentary language way of getting him. We have 3 days worth of ammo. Yep. That might have crossed the line. Yeah.
About the war of aggression by Russia on Ukraine. And Mr. Speaker, let's look at the facts. This time last year, they were holding up and voting against the Canada-Ukraine Free Trade Agreement, an agreement that Ukraine had asked us for as an ally. Mr. Speaker, when it comes to meaningful action, they do everything they can to hold back support from Ukraine, and we're seeing that today too. Thank you.
How is trying to make sure that we don't send every single thing we own over to the Ukraine not defending the Ukraine in any way?
And ask the honourable member from Battle River Crowfoot, please, to not take the floor when not recognized by the chair. The honourable member.
Why haven't I asked about something you can talk about? Cause nothing that I haven't. I don't know. I'm trying. I'm fading.
From Halliburton, Kawartha Lakes, Peterborough. Brock.
Speaker, reports continue to reveal one false statement after another about the employment minister's claim of Indigenous heritage. The fact he is still in cabinet has laid bare the reality that truth and reconciliation mean nothing to Liberals. We found out today the company co-owned by the minister, GHI, is in fact green-lit to bid on government contracts. This is the same company that falsely claimed to be wholly Indigenous owned while inventing...
Didn't read that it was a quote.
No.
Because it was Karina Gould. Why aren't you asking something that I can answer?
Oh.
Fictional other Randy and sharing a mailbox with an alleged cocaine smuggler. Will the Prime Minister just end the charade and fire the minister?
Well, that would make too much sense, though.
The Honourable Minister for Indigenous Services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It only seems apparent that the Conservatives want to talk about reconciliation when it's allegation, but rather they don't want to talk about reconciliation when we're talking about investing in First Nations housing or helping.
Yeah, because when you have programs to invest in Indigenous housing and Indigenous businesses, and then you have a minister who claims to be Indigenous to get some of that money when he's not, is not a good thing, and it should be talked about.
People ensure their opportunities to have economic success or procure from the government of Canada. They don't want to talk about that, Mr. Speaker, because you know why? Their record is shameful, Mr. Speaker. In fact, they have continually cut services for Indigenous people. When they were in power, we will do the opposite. There you go.
The honourable member from Sherwood Park, Fort Saskatchewan.
Mr. Speaker, during committee and just now, the Minister of Indigenous Services refused to defend her colleague, the pretend Indigenous Minister of Employment. The Minister of Employment pretended to be Indigenous so that his company could steal contracts from Indigenous communities and businesses. While the Prime Minister continues to be the defender of the pretender, even his cabinet colleagues are losing faith. Now, this question is for the Minister of Indigenous Services. Will she stand up and defend her cabinet colleague, or should he be fired?
Good call out. Good call out there. Are you gonna stand there with your colleague and go, yeah, he's Indigenous, or are you gonna be like, are you gonna actually hold him to account and be like, no, that he shouldn't have done that?
The Honourable Minister for Indigenous Services.
You know, Mr. Speaker, just moments ago I was speaking with the National Chief about the shenanigans that are happening at 9
No, you weren't.
as the Conservatives attempt to undermine the study of the water legislation that so many First Nations...
You weren't talking about that with anybody at all. I don't believe you.
Mr. Speaker, preventing it from actually getting to this place and hopefully eventually to Senate. They talk about standing up for First Nations people, but when they have the chance to be allies, they completely drop the ball.
From Victoria.
Mr. Speaker, the cost of
Oh,
living is
sorry,
up,
guys.
and Canadians can't keep up. Meanwhile, oil and gas CEOs pollute our planet. They gouge Canadians, all while raking in billions in profits. The Liberals have let Canadians down. This past week in Victoria, Common Horizon hosted a Make Them Pay town hall, calling on this government to make rich CEOs pay what they owe. So will the Liberals listen to Canadians and finally put an excess profits tax on big oil and gas?
An excess profits tax, huh?
The Honourable Minister for Natural Resources and Energy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would say that this government has been listening to the voice.
I've noticed the Conservatives seem to have far more young members. Yeah, they do.
Canadians who are concerned about climate change.
That'll be good when they get elected. There'll be younger ministers.
Future. We have put into place a plan that is cutting carbon emissions that were accelerating under the Harper government. It is just a shame.
Oh my lord, the Harper government was freaking 10 years ago.
On pollution, over 100 million tons of excess emissions because of a decision they made to collaborate with the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada on this side of the House.
Yeah, they're not collaborating with the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. I can't believe they keep accusing the NDP of doing that.
It's weird. Why is that in the middle of your screen? Allow Google Chrome to find devices on local networks.
Oh, I have no idea what that means.
Okay. Anyway, the funniest part of all of this, is what I was saying was, what did I say? What did I say in chat?
I don't know.
Oh, the Conservatives, right. No, it's weird because have you not noticed the amount of scolding that seems to be coming from the mothers and grandmothers that are the Liberal Party now to the young male conservatives, to the young conservatives?
Yeah.
Have you not noticed how they've been talking, including Trudeau to Polyev, who's 14 years his junior?
Yep. Or the way Fergus talks to them.
The Honourable Member for Hamilton Centre.
Mr. Speaker, nobody believes this progressive Liberal government because they bought a pipeline.
Progressive. I like that. Progressive.
Question at hand. Just 10 the Ottawa Food Bank is overwhelmed. And last month, like food banks across the country, it saw the highest number of visits than ever before. The cost of living is up, and more people who never thought they would need a food bank need one now. The Liberals have let people down, and the Conservative cuts are only going to make things worse. It is our NDP plan to remove the tax on grocery items, diapers, and food clothing that will finally bring some relief. So will they finally
And what clothing?
Diapers and food clothing that will finally bring
food clothing?
The tax on grocery items, diapers, and food clothing that
grocery items already there is already no tax on grocery items. This guy looks like he should donate some of his pantry. What is food clothing?
That will finally bring some relief. So will they finally act for Canadians?
The Honourable Minister for Families, Children and Workforce Development.
When I visit food banks and I speak to volunteers here in Ottawa and across the country, They share
You
with me
don't
not
go to
only the
food
pride and
banks.
the importance of what they're doing, but they also share with me the importance of the Canada Child Benefit and how it impacts
Which you
the
guys did not create. The Conservatives did.
that they serve. Not only the Canada Child Benefit, Mr. Speaker, but also moving forward with the National School Food Programming, ensuring that kids at school have access to food when they need it. I won't be lectured by the Conservative MPs when time after time
The honourable member from King's Hants.
Speaker, it has been widely reported that Conservative MPs have written to the Minister of Housing advocating for their communities to receive federal funding.
No, they've written to the Minister of Housing asking where all the housing startups are.
And that's exactly what MPs should do. But what is shocking is that the Conservative...
I'm going to ask the honourable member from Miramichi Grand Lake, please, not to take the floor unless recognized. I'm going to ask the honourable member from King's Hants to start again.
Speaker, it has widely been reported that Conservative MPs have written to the Minister of Housing advocating for their communities to receive federal housing money, and that's exactly what MPs should do. But what is shocking is that the Conservative leader has banned them from advocating for their communities
No,
and
he
imposed a
hasn't.
gag order from them even talking about these initiatives just because he wants to cut.
Where is this
funding.
gag
Can the
order?
Minister of Housing encourage Conservative MPs to find their voice or provide them a witness protection
What
program
gag
so they
order?
can keep communicating? And can he explain what the Conservative leader's cuts would do to home building in this country, Mr. Speaker?
What flippin' gag order are you talking about? I think that just sounds like full of shit.
The Honourable Minister for Housing, Infrastructure and Communities.
Let me start by thanking my honourable colleague for advocating on behalf of his communities, because that
The
is
food
indeed
banks
the role
don't
that
provide
members of Parliament
Prosecco.
play. In fact, his advocacy
Ugh.
itself secures millions of dollars for communities like Wolfville, East Hants, West Hants, Kings County. Now, Mr. Speaker, I was shocked to learn that the Conservative leader
The
plans
bottle of wine that I like to get is $17.
cut these investments when they were going towards building more homes in my province of Nova Scotia. By the way, it's working with a 23% increase in home starts this year. But I was more stunned to see the Conservative members of Parliament abiding by their leader's instruction, refusing to advocate for their communities. If they need witness protection, I'd be happy to speak to the Minister of Public Safety.
Oh, fuck off.
The honourable member from Kamloops, Thompson, Caribou. Order.
Speaker, 8-year-old Tori Stafford was brutally and viciously murdered by Terry Lynn McClintock and her boyfriend in a sexually motivated killing. Currently, McClintock lives in a townhouse-style jail in Ontario in medium security. That jail also houses a mother-child program. When I visited there, I was appalled to see that there were children in that jail at that security level in the townhouse-style complex. How could this Liberal government allow child killers in the same jail as children?
Because poor Terry Lynn was abused by Michael Rafferty, according to her.
Just hear Caputo saying that Grand Valley is a townhome style minimum security prison. We know prison guards there, don't we?
Yeah, but he's not wrong.
Right, except for all except for the pranks, the constant tales of them keeping the women awake, the incessant threat from your roommates from Quebec stabbing you at the cutting board with the knives that are strapped to the wall. She can't leave.
No.
I mean, yes. Have I been given 3 deliveries now for her? Yes. Did each one of them get rejected? Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's not as minimum security as people think. How many times have I taken stuff in? A few times, right? Like the last few years I've been doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of that stuff was for her. Because they're, The problem is we should have just shot them both.
Yep.
But we're not allowed to do that. Why can't we have lynching again? I would like to bring lynching back. It was our last form of execution. We had a more recent one than the States. So could we please bring it back? Because, you know, maybe these people will smarten up. But no, instead they get to go to Maplehurst, or they get to go to all of these the walkabout prisons that are quite interesting to be in. And now they're talking about how they're building more beds. So they're going to give more housing to prisoners. Well, there's still less housing for the free people.
Yeah.
And they're giving them through portables. No, that's not easy to break out of. But again, Terry Lynn McClintock should have been put under the fucking jail.
Yep.
I don't even know what happened to him.
Michael
I
Rafferty?
think he's free, isn't he now?
No.
Well, he's still alive because that's still there. See, he's one that he should have disappeared. But again, there was no evidence of what he did. Anyway, back to the show. I'm hoping I'm giving your voice a break with these break-ins and not making people run away. Probably making people run away.
I don't know, but my voice hurts.
The Honourable Minister for Public Security.
Mr. Speaker, the safety of children who participate in this long-standing mother-child program is obviously a top priority for the Correctional Service. There are rigorous eligibility criteria in place to participate in this program. It includes child welfare screening completed by Provincial Family Services, as well as ensuring that people residing in the mother-child living unit have not been convicted of any offense against a child. Mr. Speaker, my colleague knows this program has been in existence for 24 years, and no child has ever been harmed in any way during this program's implementation.
Yeah, because you're not going to say it, but because the other female prisoners would probably kill the person who did it.
The Honourable Member from Kamloops, Thompson Caribou.
Mr. Speaker, these living units are townhouses literally right next to each other. And if they're going to screen people, why aren't they screening the sex offender killer that lives next door? Mr. Speaker, this is the time to show courage and not cowardice, and this minister is doing the complete opposite. This comes back to Bill C-83 that allowed people like McClintock, Bernardo, and Rafferty to serve their sentences in the least restrictive measure.
Yep.
Victims are owed an apology. Is this minister going to reverse these failed policies and get rid of children with sex offenders?
No, get rid of... The way he said it, get rid of children and sex offenders, what was the word I'm looking?
Mr. Speaker, this member does a disservice and is disrespectful to the victims of these very people he keeps naming in this House of Commons. Mr. Speaker, the persons he just named are inmates in federal correctional facilities. He pretends that the most important criteria for their incarceration is not the public safety of Canadians. He knows that that's false, and he does a disservice to continually name these people in the House of Commons. We're thinking of the victims of these horrible people and don't think that he should continually drag their names out in this effort.
Wow. Way to hide behind them as a shield.
The Honourable Member from Peterborough, Kawartha.
Tori Stafford was 8 years old when she was lured from school by a monster. Tori never made it home. She was beaten, tortured, sexually assaulted, and murdered by Terry Lynn McClintock and Michael Rafferty. Today, Terry Lynn McClintock lives in a cozy townhouse with free access to the mother-child program. Yes, you heard that correctly.
So the $17 bottle of Fury is... Here, I'll show you the empty one. It's this. It's a 1.5 liters. So it's worth it. Streamlabs.com/blindpress. But I can't drink yet. Because I'm on antibiotics.
Access to children in prison.
In what universe is this okay?
The Honourable Minister for Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, the honourable member knows that the facts that she just alleged are entirely fabricated. She
are
says,
they?
Mr. Speaker, in what universe would that be?
I'm going to invite the Honourable Minister to withdraw that.
Blood everywhere. Blood, blood, blood.
Saying that someone has told a deliberate falsehood in this place is not considered parliamentary. So I'll ask the honourable member to order.
Oh, there, he just yelled, eh?
I'll ask the honourable member to order. I'll invite the honourable minister to withdraw those comments and to start from the top.
It's economical. Yeah, it's an economical bottle of wine. You can get, for $17, you can get 1.5 liters of Chilean red wine. Santa Carolina Cabernet Sauvignon. And it's really, really tasty shit. And that'll usually last me about 3 days, because I'll get 3 glasses a night and I can get 3 times 3 out of that. So that's 3 days of wine. Unless I'm a bad girl and I decide to just drink half the bottle in one night. Which I would do on a weekend.
Those words, Mr. Speaker. I think it's important for honourable members in this House that allege a series of circumstances.
Ah, money-sized bottles, not a snack-sized
When the honourable
one.
member says, in what scenario would that particular
I'm siding with the libs on this one. It's a non-issue. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on this one, honey. The other inmates, if Terry Lynn did anything to any of the girl or any of the kids there, the other inmates would end her.
Alleges be appropriate. The answer, Mr. Speaker, is in no scenario in Canada. I wonder why she keeps talking about issues that she knows are entirely inaccurate, Mr. Speaker.
I'm going to ask the honourable member from Kamloops Thompson Caribou to please not take this is for the second time today, and I'd ask him not to take the floor unless recognized by the Speaker, which he has been for questions. L'honorable député de Bellechasse.
The honourable member for Bellechasse-les-Étremins-Lévis. Mr. Speaker, the Liberal government is rewarding criminals and turning its back on victims. Bail and house arrest for dangerous criminals is beyond comprehension. The latest discouraging indication of a broken system, the case of a woman who sexually abused and killed an 8-year-old girl who can...
Can you imagine if LCBO did a wish list like Amazon? That would be awesome. Boxed red wine for £5 for 2.5 liters. You made mead this year with brewer's yeast. Oh, interesting. They give more of a shit about the Stafford case now than when it happened. Unfortunately, that's true. That is an unfortunate fact. Oh. I don't think I can go anymore. I don't think I can talk anymore. It hurts. Oh. Okay, how many more minutes do we have here? 1 hour 14 minutes of 1 hour 41. Oh my god. We have another half an hour to go of this shit. Yeah, no, I can't. I tap. I tap. I capitulate. I cannot do this. I cannot go on. Leave me behind. I think I'm gonna end here. I'm hoping to try to go live tonight to see what Ghostface is like, because I've already played around with him and I'm trying to figure out what cameo to pair with Ghostface. So I'll probably just be spending a lot of time in the lab tonight, but I'll probably stream that. So, but thank you for hanging out with me while I talked myself hoarse. I'm gonna go make a tea and have some water and everything, but thank you guys for hanging out with me, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys. Also, go